I don't do many two-part videos, and this is actually going to be a two-part video. And ultimately what I'm going to be making is baking burnt ends. Malcolm Reed over there at his channel here, I don't know, a couple months ago, did some bacon burnt ends, and I'm like, man, that is a must try. And I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, slab bacon that hadn't already been sliced is not readily available. He said that he got it at Sam's Club. I don't know if we got it at our Sam's Club. I haven't even looked. But my idea was to make my own bacon slab, cure my own bacon slab, and from there do the bacon burnt ends. So today's video is walking you through step by step how to have your own smoked bacon slab. We're gonna get started right after this. So here's what I'm working with. Take a look at this pork belly. This comes from Matador Prime Steak Company, and this thing is weighing in around 6 pounds. So I took the cure that I used on my original bacon video. I can't remember the name. I think it's just simply how to make bacon, and it was a savory type bacon. And I'm basically doing the same thing with this, but I had to quadruple. Well, no, I didn't quadruple. I did that recipe times 3, because this is about 3 times the weight of what I did in that video. But if you'll look, the skin has already been removed. Matador Meat took care of that. And let me tell you, that is a good thing when it comes to making bacon, unless you want rind on, and very few people do. I don't have to fight getting the skin off. That's always a laborious job. So that's nothing but fat. Let's look at the back. Nice color, man. Look at this. This is a nice piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put this in a 2.5 gallon Ziploc bag, and then we're going to put our cure together, and I'm going to show you step by step how I do that. As I mentioned earlier, this cure is 3 times what I did. I'm talking about the amount of ingredients. It's 3 times what I did in my original, the first how to make bacon video. And so instead of 1/2 cup of brown sugar, we're going in with 1.5 cups. This is just plain brown sugar. And instead of 1/4 cup, we got 3/4 cup kosher salt going in. We got 3/4 teaspoon of ground thyme. Got 3/4 teaspoon cracked black pepper. I just ground this myself. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be more of a savory bacon, not a real sweet bacon. It's going to be perfect for these burnt ends. Another ingredient is 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. In the original video where I made the bacon, I used a ground bay leaf. Could not find ground bay leaf today. So instead, I took about 10 bay leaves. I took a pair of scissors and just snipped the leaves off. We're just going to incorporate this, and that's all you need. This stuff is going to pull moisture out of this pork belly, and once the bay leaf gets into the moisture, then it's going to pull all the flavors that it needs into this pork belly. Final ingredient is sodium nitrite. Some people refer to this as pink salt, not to be confused with a Himalayan pink salt. This is actually the agent that goes in this to do the curing, along with the salt and the sugar. Everything else is just for the flavor profile. Got 1.5 teaspoons going in. The sodium nitrite does 2 things. Not only does it give the bacon that distinct bacon flavor, it is also what prevents the botulism spores that are found in all meat from growing when it's going through the cold smoking method. Cold smoke is a perfect environment for botulism to grow, and this will knock that out, prevent it, and it makes your bacon completely safe. So I'm going to take and I'm going to mix this thoroughly. Alright, so the easiest way to do this, being the size of this pork belly, is to simply open up the Ziploc, and I'm going to take some of this cure in a big spoon, and we're just going to apply it on this top side to begin with. So the idea here is to have a solid coat all the way across. You don't want to pile it up necessarily. You just want a good even coat. And that's what we're doing here. You do want this on your edges as well, both sides. You want it completely covered in this cure. And that's exactly what we got going on here. So now, this side's done. For the most part, the edges are done. I'm going to take and I'm going to flip this over very fast. Now we're going to proceed to do the other side. So all we do now is just zip this thing up. Try to push out as much air as you can, but to be honest with you, this pork belly's already got most of it pushed out. Now from here, this is going outside in the refrigerator I have out there. It's just going to go on an open rack, and it's going to lay completely flat just like you see it now. And once a day, I'm going to flip this, because what happens from here is the salt and the sugar starts taking moisture out of this pork belly, starts excreting the moisture. And so every day you want to flip it over to where it's being exposed to the juices that are being rendered out. 1 week from today, I will remove it, and from there we will take it to the next step. So I'll see you in about 7 days. Welcome back. We are at 7 days, and today we're going to take this bacon to the next step. Going to show you every step along the way. Hope everyone had a very nice 4th. That was this past Thursday. I didn't do a video. I did, however, shoot a little bit of footage with my cell phone. We did 2 racks of ribs, we did some onion burgers, we did some hot dogs, and it was extremely hot, but man, we had a good time. Hope all of you did too. Now if you take a look down here, this is what we look like 7 days later. See all the liquid in this bag? That's what happens when you put the cure on it. You can see all the juices that has rendered from this. This is fully cured. This is bacon. But what we have to do now is take this and thoroughly rinse it under cold water. Then we'll let it soak in water to remove any excess salt. So we're going to do that right now. Alright, so here's my container. I've got probably 2.5 inches of water, whatever it takes to where you're completely submerged. Take a look at the beautiful color from this curing. Man, that has turned a real deep looking reddish brown. Looks very nice. Flip it over, take a look. This is our fat side, and it's actually changed the color of that. It was a bleach white. Now once we apply smoke to this, it's going to take on even a much yellower brownish color from the smoke. So I'm going to let this soak for around 2 hours tops. You know, an hour will usually do it. And if you ever make bacon, do not skip this part, because you're going to end up with too salted bacon, and you don't want to do that, because there's nothing you're going to be able to do with it at that point. So we'll be back in about 2 hours. Just a quick plug for a good buddy of mine, Bill West, over at barbecuetricks.com. Bill has come out with another book. This is Beginner's Guide to Smoking Meat 101, and this book is chock full of some really good information, not just for beginners, but also people that's been doing this for quite some time. He's got some really good recipes in this, got some really killer sauce recipes towards the back of it, but this takes you, like I said, for beginners. It explains smokers, how they work, and it takes you all through that, and it just really covers everything in good depth. It's a really good read, and this is now available at Amazon.com. I'll have a link in the description box. Check Bill's new book out. Had it in the water right at 2 hours. We're at the 2 hour mark, and as you can see, the water is not as clear as what it was. That means this is doing its job. It is removing any excess salt from the surface of this meat, and you really want to do that. I can't emphasize that enough. A minimum of 1 hour will usually work, but I like taking it up to 2 hours. So now I'm going to remove this, and I'll be right back. So I've got it on a wire rack, and I'm going to take paper towels. I'm just going to blot off as much moisture as I can. You want to get this moisture off so that the smoke from the cold smoking process will really get into this meat. The water or wet surface kind of inhibits that. I'm going to flip it over, do the back side, the fat side. And so you know, this is very aromatic, man. This bacon has got a nice smell to it. All right, so I'm gonna flip it back over. I'm gonna fold these legs in, and from here I'm going outside in the garage where I have another full-size refrigerator, and I'm gonna place this in there for around 2 hours. The bacon is still in the refrigerator. I just felt of it. It's getting a good dry surface. And in case I didn't say, you could go overnight with drying that out. 2 hours will be good enough. It's coming onto the smoker totally cold, which is a good thing for helping to absorb smoke. And what I'm using my pit barrel cooker today. Got to thinking about all my different options to use a smoke tube in. And I'm going to take and put this smoke tube in the bottom of the pit barrel cooker. We're going to light it. And I've got my bottom vent wide open. Normally that stays at 1/4 of the way open. I've got it wide open. I'm removing one piece of rebar because I want some good ventilation going through this pit barrel cooker. Don't want a lot of stale smoke that's going to turn into like a bitter type of smoke, an acrid type smoke. So hopefully that's going to work out good. And the pellets I'm using is a Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. This is actually made from the barrels, the white oak barrels that Jack Daniel uses. And you will find out tomorrow when I do the other video, the bacon burn ends, why I chose this particular brand. My gas container is just about empty, but I think we're gonna make it. All right, I've got my smoke tube in the bottom there. This is leftover from 4th of July cook. The charcoal you see in there, not gonna hurt a thing in the world. I'm just simply propping this up on top of the firebox there. Our fire still hadn't extinguished yet. I might actually have to blow that out, but I'm gonna give it a minute. Meantime, I'm gonna get this pork belly on a hook, getting ready to hang it. All right, so I'm gonna crisscross my rebar here. I've got good smoke coming out of the smoke tube. I did have to blow the fire out. We're gonna hang our pork belly right here in the center. And that is perfect. All right, so I'll place my lid on. We're gonna let this smoke for a good 3 hours before I even look at it. It normally takes somewhere between 3 to 5 hours. I'm gonna go strictly by the color that I see on the fat side and the meat side. And this seems to be drafting really good, so I'm thinking this is gonna work out great. All right, so we've been cold smoking 3 hours, and I think we're pretty good. Gonna take this lid off. Gonna reach in here and remove the pork belly. Oh yeah, that's nice right there. Now what I'm gonna do is take this rebar, gonna put it back in its proper position. Just lay it across here for a second. That's what you want. What you're seeing, that yellowish color, is the smoke. Same thing on this side. So what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm going to bring this inside, and I'm going to put this in a 2.5 gallon Ziploc bag, and from there it's going into the refrigerator. And the reason you want to do that is you're allowing time for this smoke that's on the surface to help give it time to penetrate into the meat, plus it'll help mellow it out. Same thing you do when you're smoking cheese, but you don't have to go as long. 1 day minimum. I would recommend 2 to 3 days if you have it. I don't have it because tomorrow this will be turned into bacon burn ends. So that's next week's video. Make sure you tune in for that as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. And hey, you got bacon here. You can slice it just as is, or you can do the bacon burn ends, however you want to do it. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, smoke your ribs.